Lego Transformers Thrust. Hello, Lego Transformers fans. This is Soundvox with Lego Transformers Thrust. Now, Thrust has always been a very interesting jet to me because he was one of the only Seekers that had wings with propellers in the wings. As a kid, I had never seen it before, and I thought it was amazing. So I wanted to definitely get that in his design when building him. So let's take a quick comparison now between Thrust and a toy figure I have. Unfortunately, I don't have the classics, nor do I have the new Siege line Earthrise Thrust. So I have this old Revenge of the Fallen Thrust figure here, just to show off. It gets the colors right, but it doesn't have the propellers in the wings. It just has Decepticon symbols there. But that's the only representation of Thrust I have toy-wise. So now, without further ado, let's get into the actual Lego Thrust I built. And now we'll compare Thrust to his comrades in jet mode. So you can see Dirge is still a little bigger than Ramjet and Thrust, but Thrust has more of a wingspan, so that gives him a look like his plane's bigger. He's just got, flat, long wings. And then there's Ramjet on the side. I think they look good together, the trio, and I'm really happy the way that Thrust looks. And they're all differently designed for being very much the same kind of jet. And I really like the way I did Thrust's nose cone. Even though in jet mode, it does give him a little bit of an Angry Bird looking appearance. And here we have Thrust next to a minifigure to get a size comparison. So here we have Thrust, and the way I made him, I thought this was pretty neat. We have, obviously he's made out of Legos like all my Transformers, but there's some interesting piece usage, and it's much different. So the first thing I'll point out is Thrust was really cool. He's got, I guess he's called a VTOL jet because of those turbines on his wings. I could only find one from the shield carrier that has this nice decal. I don't know if it's painted on or if it's a sticker. But if I find the other one, he'll look super awesome with them on both. So I use this piece as a placeholder. And so that would allow him to vertically take off. Now from jet mode here, he is a pretty solid looking jet. I'm really impressed with his jet mode and his robot mode. This is one of my favorite of the Seekers that I have built. I just think he looks so great. I mean, the other Seekers were awesome, but I think Thrust came out really great. And Thrust does not have orange cockpit syndrome. His is black, and the black goes better with the red, so I used the triangle slope piece and then a flat piece to kind of give it length to show that it's like the cockpit. Because I tried a different technique. You'll notice that the slope downward technique is only used on the intakes. It's not used on the nose cone. I actually have a cone piece, a Lego cone piece with a nose cone. And then I got this lovely little brick here that has studs on both sides. It's a one piece with studs on 3 different sides, so it allows you to get some versatility out of it. Okay, and as per usual, he's got some blasters here, some pew-pews. And they're made from the Lego Star Wars Jedi lightsabers, like most of my Seekers. And I used a ratcheting hinge on his wings. Let me just turn a little bit so you can see that better. Let me just get a little bit more light in here. There we go. Now we can see it. Hopefully it's not too glossy. I know the black seems to bring out a lot of shine. It's an awesome color, especially with the Lego. It makes it very smooth and very nice looking. And then these little weird wing pieces are actually, I want to say they're Creo pieces. They came with a Creo Power Glide. Okay, and then we got his tail wings. They're wedge blocks, and I have these red ones going the opposite of these black ones to kind of give it definition, character. And then he's got tail wings. And then the back, you could use these squares as thrusters, plus his VTOL engines. And there was his manifold intakes, like we talked about before. There's a nice slope piece that I always mention. So that's thrusts in his jet mode. And I think it's pretty cool. Okay. One thing I will mention is with this nose cone, it does kind of give his face a chibi, his cockpit a chibi looking aspect, which I'm not a real big fan of, but it's not that bad. If you look at it from this angle, it looks great. Okay, so let's transform him. We'll flip him up, and on his tail wings here, he's got little clips held on to this one piece here. We're going to rotate them down slowly. I don't know about you guys, but I've noticed with my Legos lately, these clip pieces that hold onto bars and stuff, some of the bars, especially the gray bars, the clip pieces don't want to hold, and the clip pieces kind of break easily nowadays. So I don't know what that's all about. But as far as thrust goes, these two ones have been holding up pretty well. You'll notice he has wedges for feet, just like Ramjet and Dirge, so I did keep some aesthetic the same. Now, the wings. The wings are on these ratchets, so we can just ratchet them back. The one thing about the ratchet that's good is you can move things and keep it in place. But the bad thing about the ratchet is it's so strong that when you're building with few pieces, like I do with these Lego Transformers, your ratchets can actually take your Transformer apart, take your creation apart. Now we simply move his arms forward. And normally I do not like to show unfinished Transformers. But there are a couple unfinished points of contention here. I have this clip piece here that you'll notice is gray, and this gray arm. So I just got to find a red arm and another red one of these to match it. And then he'll be what I consider complete. But he still looks great. He's got his classic cannons here on his arms. I use this 2-stud clip attachment for a hand. I think it gives his arm some length. And the wings you can ratchet forward or backwards as you see fit to kind of balance him out. And you can tip his legs a little to balance him out. Like I said before, his head has a great piece. It's got hinge pieces, or not hinge pieces, it's got studs on 3 different sides. And so I put it pretty much straight up and down, attached it from the side to the body, and then I put a little circle for his face. And it gives him that face surrounded by the red, like the toy actually has and the character in the show has. And I even made a faux cockpit on his chest using a black flat piece. This nice little hingy piece here is actually flipped around the opposite way to get that effect. So even though most of him is understud, this part it's flipped around so it just shows studs. And so let's do a quick 360 of him. And let's look at his cone. It's actually the first cone head with an actual Lego cone for his head, or at least for the tip of it. So this is Lego Transformers Thrust, and I want to say I'm happiest with this this mold, this build. I think it's really good. It's really awesome. It really comes together. It's different than the others. So now what we'll do is we'll bring in the other Transformers to compare him to. And here we have Thrust next to a minifigure to get a size comparison. So here we have Thrust next to his pals, the 3 cone head seekers, all together again. You have Dirge, Ramjet, and Thrust. You can see the difference between them Thrust's wingspan is a little bigger. His wings ride higher up on his body. And I also changed the style of nose cone compared to the other two. They have those flat sloping pieces. I actually used a Lego cone for his nose cone, and with the block I used for the head, it makes it really look real good. So there he is with his buddies, Ramjet and Dirge. Next time.
Megatron, is that you?
Here's a hint, Starscream.
Ah!